It's after on Sunday we saw that email she'd sent to convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, which appeared to be a grovelling apology to him. She said she had to write it because she was being threatened by Jeffrey Epstein.
She was supposed to be the palace's next fairy tale, the breath of fresh air the royal family desperately needed. But instead, she became their greatest scandal. Sarah Ferguson, the woman who entered royal life with laughter, color, and chaos, would leave it in disgrace, betrayal, and exile. And now, as she faces a new chapter without the man who once called her his best friend, old secrets have resurfaced, stories of heartbreak, of loneliness, and of one American man who changed everything.
Is the Duchess of York Epstein scandal about to hit her in the pocket? Well, maybe. Let me explain why. The charities linked to Sarah Ferguson on Monday certainly moved quickly to distance themselves from her.
Long before the infamous photographs, long before the exile, there was another scandal buried deep beneath palace walls, one that began while Sarah Ferguson was still pregnant with Princess Eugenie. When she married Prince Andrew on July 23, 1986, Britain was watching a royal performance. The press called it a fairy tale. The palace called it a distraction.
Not only that, but a pap found them and took photos of Brian sucking Fergie's toes, Fergie topless, and all of this happening while her two daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, were around. It was an absolute sensation.
Charles and Diana's marriage was already crumbling, and the monarchy needed a new love story to keep the cameras kind. Sarah, with her red hair, infectious laugh, and undeniable charm, fit the part perfectly, but behind the smiles there was tension. She was too loud, too playful, too ordinary for royal standards. The courtiers whispered that she lacked grace.
This barrel's for me.
Toe sucking. Who was this and just why?
It's 1992. Sarah Ferguson, Duchess of York, and Prince Andrew had been divorced for a few months, and Fergie rents a place in the south of France as she took her financial advisor, John Bryan, with her.
The tabloids loved her until they didn't. Still, Sarah tried to play the role. She smiled for cameras, shook hands, waved politely. She wanted to belong. By 1988, she had given birth to Princess Beatrice, and 2 years later, to Princess Eugenie. But while the world saw picture-perfect happiness, her marriage was already cracking. Prince Andrew's naval duties meant he was gone most of the year. Sarah later admitted she spent months alone, confined by royal protocol.
Well, the happiest divorced couple, as they describe themselves. She describes herself as being divorced to rather than divorced from him. I've heard her say on multiple occasions what a kind man he is, what a good father, what a good grandfather. But I think what's controversial in these comments is what she says about him being able to come out of the spotlight and get on with his life.
Forbidden from joining him on tours and quietly sinking into isolation. She once said, "I married the man, but what I got was the palace. A golden cage, beautiful but suffocating." In 1989, Fergie flew to the United States for the Houston Grand Opera's British Festival. It was supposed to be just another royal engagement. Instead, it became the turning point of her life.
Ready to go skiing.
Sad day for you?
Well, I would say that would be understatement. Yeah, very sad. Of course it's sad. Anyway, you're all going to leave us alone then today, now? Please?
There, she met Steve Wyatt, a wealthy, confident Texan businessman, charismatic, kind, and crucially, unafraid of her royal title. To a lonely duchess desperate for warmth, Wyatt was a spark in the darkness. They connected instantly, and according to multiple accounts, that connection turned romantic even while she was carrying her second child, Princess Eugenie.
They are extremely damaging, and there'll be many who think, well, who are you to say? You should just be allowed to get on with your life.
And also, the question is, what kind of life is he, or does she envisage his getting on with? Because obviously he can't get on with life as a member of the royal family and a working royal.
What began as an emotional escape soon became a scandal waiting to explode. By the early 1990s, rumors about Sarah's closeness with Wyatt began circling through London tabloids. He was spotted near royal events. He made secret trips to Britain. But the storm truly broke in January 1992, when photographs surfaced Wyatt with a young Princess Beatrice.
Someone a patron for charities that are helping children, and this patron is openly friends with a known paedophile, and she knew he was a paedophile by that point. Makes me want to vomit.
I mean, there are certain things you can recover from, JJ, right? We had a prince that was involved in tampon gate.
The message was clear. Sarah Ferguson had introduced her daughter to her lover. For the palace, that was unforgivable. Biographer David Lee would later claim Steve Wyatt was the love of her life and the real reason her marriage to Andrew collapsed. Just months later, the world would see something even worse. Summer 1992. The Duchess of York was vacationing in the south of France. Paparazzi lenses captured what no one was meant to see: Sarah, topless by the pool, As another American man, her financial advisor John Bryan kissed and sucked her toes. It was humiliation on a global scale. The photographs were everywhere, front pages, talk shows, tabloids. The Queen was said to be devastated. Prince Philip's letter to Sarah reportedly read, "You have done more to bring shame on this family than could ever have been imagined." Whatever sympathy she had left vanished overnight. By 1993, her public image was in ruins. She became a tabloid punchline, a royal disgrace. Negotiations for a formal separation began, and by 1996, her marriage was officially over. Her settlement was modest compared to Princess Diana's just over £3 million. But strangely, the bond between Sarah and Andrew never fully broke. They continued to live together at Royal Lodge, co-parented their daughters, and even went on family vacations. Sarah called them the happiest divorced couple in the world. For years, it seemed like they had found a quiet truce, a friendship built on shared history and mutual survival. But peace never lasts long in the royal world. When Prince Andrew's connections to Jeffrey Epstein exploded into public scandal, Sarah was dragged back into the headlines. Emails she'd sent to Epstein resurfaced messages that looked like desperate apologies to a convicted sex offender. She later claimed she was being threatened, but the damage was already done. The same woman who once scandalized the monarchy with affairs was now tied to a global criminal case, and once again she became a symbol of disgrace. Now, after Andrew's royal downfall and his removal from public duties, reports suggest the former couple's decades-long living arrangement at Royal Lodge is ending. For Sarah, it marks the close of a strange, bittersweet chapter 1 that began with glamour, spiraled into chaos, and ends in quiet survival. Sarah Ferguson has always been a contradiction. At times, she's the comic relief of the royal family, clumsy, emotional, impossible to manage. At others, she's the cautionary tale, the Duchess who couldn't follow the rules. She once said she felt trapped in a golden cage, and when the doors finally opened, she didn't know how to act free. Every attempt at independence, whether through business ventures, book deals, or friendship, seems to end in scandal. She was mocked by tabloids, rejected by courtiers, and ridiculed by comedians, and yet she never disappeared. Even now, she remains in the public eye, writing children's books, giving interviews, attending events, but controversy follows her like a shadow. Her name keeps resurfacing in stories about questionable deals, failed ventures, and desperate attempts to rebuild her image. From her role as an ambassador for a failed crypto firm to endless rumors about money troubles, Sarah Ferguson remains a magnet for chaos. Insiders whisper that she's quietly preparing to leave the UK, possibly to escape the constant scrutiny. Talks of luxury villas abroad, new business ventures, and another reinvention have fueled speculation that she's ready to start over again. But if history has taught us anything, it's that Sarah Ferguson never leaves scandal behind, she carries it with her. For years, she blamed loneliness, the press, and royal pressure for her downfall, but patterns speak louder than excuses. Time after time, Sarah Ferguson chose attention over restraint, headlines over humility. To some, she's a survivor. To others, the architect of her own undoing. Her affair with Steve Wyatt didn't just end a marriage, it defined her legacy. Once a fairy tale duchess, now a royal cautionary tale. Victim or villain, you decide. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned. This story's far from over.